Hello students, welcome back. Let's continue with the next part of the chapter. Last time we have seen about the immunity, innate and acquired immunity, B lymphocyte, T lymphocyte, cell mediated immunity and humoral immunity, that is AMI. Now continuing with the same topic, let us understand antibodies. The word antigen and antibodies, these two things should be clear. Antigen means any foreign particle, living or non-living, which enters our body and cause damage to our body cells. While antibody are the cells produced by our body against antigen. So antibodies are armies, while antigens are terrorists. So let us understand antibodies. Antibodies are basically protein molecules, and they are also called immunoglobulins. See, albumins, globulins, different types of proteins we have seen. Because these proteins helps in immunity, they are called immunoglobulins. And well-known immunoglobulins, in short, we can write as ING. There are four types of immunoglobulins: IgA, IgM, IgE, IgG. There is another type also, IgD. So remember this: IgG, IgA, IgM, IgD, IgE, GAMDE, GAMDE. So these are the immunoglobulins which are helping us to fight against various antigens. Now, what is the shape of these antibodies? The antibodies are Y-shaped molecules. I will be sharing a separate video for antibody structure and the explanation to it. Today I am not going to show you the diagram and the more detailed part, but just because I want to continue further with that part, I will go through the theory part. So antibodies are basically Y-shaped molecules, and this Y-shaped molecule are having four different chains, two short and two long, and these chains are nothing but polypeptides. The long chains are called heavy chains, H chains. The short chains are called light chains, L in short we write. So heavy H, light L. So two heavy, two light, H2, L2 molecule. It is also represented as H2L2 molecule. The most prevalent antibody in blood is IgG, followed by IgA and IgM. IgA is present in the breast milk, that is called colostrum also. Very short introduction I have given you, but I will go through the next video in which I will show you the diagram of the antibody, and we will understand, because the diagram is asked sometimes along with the theory for 2 or 3 marks. So we should understand antigen and antibodies, types of antibodies, the shape of antibodies, the structure of antibodies, and the important parts of the antibodies in a diagram. It is also called H2L2 because there is two heavy chain and two light chains, right? So today antibody, what we have discussed, is very short, but I will continue next time with a full length video. In that I will show you the diagram and the various parts of it. Continuing further, let us come to the vaccination and immunization. These two words which we have heard commonly, but when you see vaccination or immunization, you will always see that both are same. But is it so? So vaccination we have just heard because we have just taken some vaccines in last few years. As soon as baby is born, some vaccines are given on right from day one. So what is vaccine or what is vaccination? It is a process of introduction of weak or inactivated pathogens or proteins into the person to provide the protection against disease. This is the exact definition. Again, I am repeating. It is a process of introduction of weak or inactivated pathogens. So you have to introduce either weak pathogens or inactivated. Now when I say inactivated or weak, means the pathogens will be living but they may not cause disease. They are inactivated or they are weak. Sometimes the pathogen may be dead also. So again we can call inactivated. So weak pathogens may be living because they cannot cause disease but they are living. Or inactivated means a pathogen is there but it's a dead pathogen. Or their parts, that is called protein. Either of them is injected or introduced in your body will start producing antibodies and thus it will protect against some disease. So that is the definition of vaccination. It is always asked for 1 month. Then comes the immunization. Immunization is a process by which the body produces antibodies against the vaccine, that is called primary response, and develops the ability to neutralize pathogens during actual infection, that is called secondary response. Understand this definition, you will understand the whole process of immunization. See, immunization is a process by which the body produces antibodies. So we get first response, that is primary response. Then it develops the ability to neutralize the pathogen during actual infection, that is secondary response. So what actually is difference vaccination and immunization? Okay, imagine you are taking a vaccine either by injection or oral drops. So that is something that you are taking till your mouth is vaccination. Any chemicals, that is dead pathogen or weak pathogens or protein, you are just taking either oral form or injection form, that is a vaccination. But what actually it happens in the body? As soon as that weak pathogen or inactivated pathogen enters your body will recognize that it is not of our body, so it will fight against that. It will produce some response that is called primary response. So this response is there in body now. Okay, because this is not actual pathogen, it is just an inactivated or a weak pathogen. Few response or a very limited amount of response is produced. So we are calling them as a primary response. But after that, whenever there is an actual pathogen getting into your body, then the primary response will work very fast with high intensity to produce a secondary response to neutralize that pathogen, to eradicate that pathogen, to kill that pathogen. So that is immunization. I hope I have made clear vaccination and immunization. Vaccination provides immunization after a time gap. Vaccination and immunization are based on the property called memory of the immune system. Because the primary response, whenever it is produced against a duplicate pathogen, that is weak pathogen or inactivated pathogen. So there is a memory that there was such kind of pathogen and we have just responded it was primary response, that's fine. But when the actual pathogen comes, these memories will immediately produce a high number of cells which will kill or neutralize that pathogen. So the vaccine generates memory B and T cells that recognize the pathogen on subsequent exposure and produce an intense immune response. If a quick immune response is needed in a tetanus infection or a snake bite, preformed antibodies or antitoxins is injected to the patient. This type of immunization is called passive immunization. Again, I am repeating, what is passive immunization? When there is emergency, you can't ask your body to prepare antibodies, primary response, and wait for the secondary response. No, it is very, very fast. You require the antibodies to be produced. So in that case, whenever there is like a snake bite, so we or our body cells does not produce any kind of response as such. So what we can do, some other animals produce a good response against that snake bite, that toxin. So we can take a blood from that animal, we can separate the antibodies in a serum, and that serum with antibodies is injected to your body, and that antibodies will fight against the antigen which has gone to you or antitoxin which has gone to you, and that is called passive immunization. By rDNA technology, that is recombinant technology, vaccines have been produced on large scale. Example, hepatitis B and many, we have produced a lot of vaccines on large scale. This is one of the example. So you should be clear with vaccination, you should be clear with immunization, you should be clear with passive immunization. You should remember that this can be asked as in differentiate form. It can ask either in a definition form, or it can be asked as a short note of both, maybe of 2 or 3 marks. So that was vaccination and immunization. Let us come to another topic, common topic, that is called allergy. The word allergy is quite often nowadays. Most of the food products have their warnings that it contains either peanut or so and so material which may cause allergy. You might have heard your friends might be having allergy with dust or cow dung or pollen grains or sun. They may have rashes, they may have itching, sometimes sneezing, running nose. These are all the responses which we get from the allergens. So allergy, the hypersensitive reaction, that is the exaggerated reaction, hypersensitive of immune system to certain antigens present in the environment is called allergy. So sometimes you might be talking to your friends and your friend suddenly reacted very badly, very loudly, which you didn't expect even, or you didn't thought that he or she might behave like that. That kind of hypersensitive reaction when our body shows against some antigen, that is called allergy. So the substance which cause allergy are called allergens. The substance which cause the allergy are called allergens. It can be pollen grains, it can be animal tender, cow dung, dust, feather, some medicines, penicillin, even food items, peanuts. Which antibodies are produced in response to allergies? So IgE, capital I, small g, E, capital. Immunoglobulin E is produced against allergens. What is the cause of it? So there are some chemicals called histamines, serotonin. They are released from our mast cells. Now I don't know whether you might have studied in class 11 WBC cells. There are types of WBC, all different types of WBC cells. In that you might have studied mast cells. These mast cells, they get a blast And as soon as they blast, they release these two chemicals, and as these chemicals are released in the blood, it occurs some redness, some rashes, and different kind of symptoms. I already mentioned, like sneezing, watery eyes, running nose, difficulty in breathing. So what should be done then? Drugs like antihistamines, adrenaline, steroids are helping to reduce this allergy. Antihistamines, adrenaline, and steroids. To determine the cause of the allergy, patient is injected with very small dose of suspected allergens and reactions are studied. If you don't know what allergy is being caused to you by which allergens, small products of particular things might be injected to your body and the study is done. Modern day lifestyle has lowered our immunity, and this has caused a lot of sensitivity to the allergies. A very short note can be asked for this topic: allergy, allergens, its cause and symptoms, and drugs used for it. Now, another topic is autoimmunity. Auto means self. Immunity means protection against any particle, especially foreign particles or foreign antigens. So when we say self immunity, autoimmunity means our cells are killing our own body cells, and that is called autoimmunity. So it is abnormal immune response. It is not normally. It is an abnormal immune response in which the immune system of the body starts rejecting our own body cells, our own self cells, and hence the body attacks the self cells, damaging the body. It's like in an army, the army person kills the army their friends only. In the police, if the police start killing the police only, our body cells starts killing our own body cells. Instead of killing the antigen, it starts killing our own body cells. Such disease or such a condition is autoimmune condition. One of the example is given is rheumatoid arthritis, which you might have heard. Addison disease is another. So you have to remember the one or two examples and just a definition of it. Then there is a topic of immune system. We have seen immunity, but we have not seen the system. Where in our body the systems are present? Which are the organs which are related to that system? How different organs play important role in immunity? That can be asked for 3 marks or 5 marks, and so you should remember the immune system has for 5 marks, or in a parts if they ask it may ask for 2 marks. So immune system, the components of immune system are lymphoid organs, immune cells, soluble molecules like antibodies, and lymph node tissues. Lymphoid organs, immune cells, soluble molecules like antibodies, and lymph node tissues. Now what are lymphoid organs? There may be primary and secondary lymphoid organs. We'll see what are lymphoid organs. Lymphoid organs are small organs in our body or small patches of cells in our body by which the immunity or immune cells trap the microorganisms or pathogens or antigens and stop spreading them in the body. Let us see the primary lymphoid organs. The organ where lymphocytes originate and mature to become antigen sensitivity or antigen sensitive. Example, bone marrow, thymus. These are called primary lymphoid organs where immature lymphocytes differentiate into antigen sensitive lymphocytes. So especially thymus and bone marrow. These are the two different places where the immature lymphocytes differentiate into antigen sensitive lymphocytes. So if you talk of bone marrow first, It is a primary lymphoid organ where all blood cells including lymphocytes originate. All blood cells including lymphocyte originate. It provides microenvironment for development and maturation of B cells or B lymphocytes. Bone marrow helps to develop and mature B cells or B lymphocytes. The second organ is thymus. It is a lobed organ located near the heart and below the breastbone, somewhere here. It is quite large at the time of birth, but it reduces with the age. It provides microenvironment for the development and maturation of T lymphocytes, so that is T cells. So if somebody asks, where does the B cell mature? It's a bone marrow. Where does the T cell mature? It's a thymus. So two organs, very important, primary organs, primary lymphoid organs, which helps in immune system. Then secondary lymphoid organs, other than these two, bone marrow and thymus, which are the other organs. So what happens after maturation? The lymphocyte migrate to the secondary lymphoid organs. The organs where lymphocyte interact with antigen proliferate to become effector cells. Example, spleen is one of the place. Lymph nodes, tonsils, bare patches of small intestine, appendix. These are all secondary lymphoid organs. Again, I am repeating: spleen, lymph nodes, tonsils, bare patches of small intestine, and appendix. So suppose if you have studied or if you have got graduation. So graduation, if somebody asks, you will say so and so college in so and so university. But then you have to go to somewhere for getting training. So secondary lymphoid organ provides a training place where these cells interact with the antigen and they become more mature to fight against that antigen. So spleen, it is a bean-shaped, large bean-shaped organ, contains lymphocytes and phagocyte cells. It acts as a filter of the blood by trapping blood-borne microorganisms, and it is a large reservoir of RBC, that is erythrocytes. Then lymph nodes, they are very small solid structures present different points along the lymphatic system. Our whole body has a lymphatic system. So every small interaction, like if there is a big city called Mumbai, and you can't have one police station in Mumbai. So every 1 or 2 kilometers or 3 kilometers or 5 kilometers, there will be a small police station. So our body is so huge. So you can't have at least 2 places where the immunity work. No. Every short intervals, there are some lymph nodes. That is a junction point, and where these secondary lymphoid organs helps to trap the microorganism or antigens that enter the lymph or tissue fluid. So lymph node, it is that solid structure present at different points in our body. So what does it do? It traps the microorganism as soon as it enters the lymph nodes or tissue fluids. Antigens trapped in the lymph nodes activate the lymphocytes and produce immune response. Either they neutralize or either they kill. The third lymphoid tissues, secondary lymphoid organ, is MALT, M-A-L-T, mucosal associated lymphoid tissues. It is formed of masses of lymphoid tissues lining the mucosa of respiratory, digestive, and urogenital tracts. All these 3 places you will find mucus. So if you say respiratory part, digestive part, or urogenital parts, there is a mucus, and this mucus traps the microorganism. So it does not allow to spread the body. So 50% of the lymphoid tissue in the human body is formed by MALT. So this is the immune system. Whole, it can be asked for 5 marks, and parts it can be asked for 2 or 3 marks. Tomorrow we'll continue with the diagram of antibodies, the structure, and then we'll continue with one of the disease which is spreaded through virus, and then we'll see another important disease, cancer, and then we'll see drugs and alcohol abuse. So in next part we will continue with the chapter, and then we'll finish the chapter. If you have any query, please do ask and comment in the section. Thank you.